won't sell the right product. I mean, the gorilla, you won't sell the cultural experiences. You won't sell the good culinary experiences. So you need right people for you to get the right accountability. You need people who are competent, ethical, service-minded, and culturally respectful. So many of us have lost it because the client has come and, I mean, it's a safari like any other. You're just on the road driving on the phone. You know, you don't have those ethical manners to maybe to tell a client, now this is your driver, maybe your driver guide, he's on the road and he's making calls, but he's handling these people who have traveled all the way to come and have a good experience. So we have to be ethical in whatever we're doing to know that these are people who are trusted, is that we shall do what will make them happy to have, for them to have a good experience at the end of the day. And that is the output. Our main output is a customer satisfaction. If a customer is not satisfied, then you haven't done anything. Of course, we're trying to look at some of the critical roles and competencies. As we said, so many people want the authority, but they never want the responsibility. So we may not so much look at the titles, because some of the titles, someone come and say, I'm the CEO. Someone calls in and says, I'm the CEO of ABC Safaris. Did you want to do a booking? You wait for someone to talk to you. But I mean, there are thousands of people offering this service in the world. When you have gotten that inquiry, whether on call or email, respond as soon as possible, so that you can pass it on to the next in line. Some people are so much devoted into the titles. I'm the CEO, I'm the marketing manager. The other day you had the CEO of the tourism board saying, since the Uganda Tourism Board, Madame Kawa, she was saying, since their role is to market destination Uganda, every title has to be marketing. The marketing accountant, the marketing, we have to know what is our role. So in this case, our role is to deliver that beautiful experience, whether you're a guide, whether you're in sales, whether you're the CEO, MD. Our main goal is to deliver that beautiful experience to the client. So that some of the titles that we can look at as maybe CEO, who has the vision, has people leadership and partnership skills, has the governance skills to make sure he leads this team, because the CEO, MD, or the founder will be having this big dream of seeing company XYZ grow maybe to 200 staff. But the person to execute this is the staff that you have to recruit. So you have to get the right people. So we have people in destinations, or I mean reservations or sales, who normally have very good knowledge of the destination they're selling, the negotiation skills, customer relations management discipline, the rating, how you communicate with these clients really matters, because an inquiry doesn't just get into a conversion. So that experience for someone to chat with this client to the point of conversion. As a CEO, you could be there. Yes, you have set up all the infrastructure, the networks and everything. But when this inquiry comes in, most often than not, you're not there maybe to take the client through until the point of conversion. So you need this staff so much. At some point, we normally say client is the boss, but in our kind of business, yes, the client is the boss, that's very true, but our employees should be first. Take care of your employee, then the employee will take care of the client. This is one famous quote by Richard Branson, a very serious entrepreneur around the world. So he says, take care of this staff. Of course, your ultimate goal is the guest, but take care of this staff. If the staff is happy, then the guest will be happy. And that will, of course, lead to repeat clients, good referrals, good reviews.
You are breaking, Cliff.
Because you're having a safari today, you've been organizing this for the past so many months, and this particular driver, maybe you've not agreed on the money or anything, then you call Mark, you're like, man, chief, 8 p.m. in the evening, chief, I have a trip to Machon. Can you please drop these guys there? Maybe because he's just a driver, you know him as someone who drives. He doesn't know anything about tourism, about customer experience. He will drive, operate the machine to Machons, but what is that experience you're selling to this guest? And most often than not, we lose out on that. So we have to be very careful in the kind of people we are employing, their competencies, and of course the field roles, which are very important, the trip leader, the guides. It's not just any person can become a guide, because you've seen that guy in Kenya who was guiding and said, this is a zebra, so the milk comes out black, white, black, white. You can imagine, what does this client think of you? The person who has been pitched, you has pitched to him and convinced him to come all the way to Africa to have this experience. So we have to be very careful on the kind of staffing we have and their competencies and their capabilities. And of course, some of these competencies, people may not have to come with them. People can train on job. People can be taken for refresher courses. Even when you have left university, have studied these things, over time, you won't remember. And when a dynamic world, things are changing every other day. So we need to have these refresher courses, these webinars, these podcasts, so that people keep on top of their game, because we're in a very, very competitive industry. Like I said earlier on, that our kind of business has to do more with making the logistics appear and memorable. What happens behind the scenes? Of course, there are so many phone calls, hotel confirmation, vehicle arrangements, permit bookings, supplier negotiations, last-minute changes, problems solved quietly. The client doesn't want to know that. That's why they give you that time. Otherwise, if it wasn't that, they would come and do whatever they have to do. But they give you that so that they don't go through this, so that the client should see the wildlife, the beautiful smells, the landscape, the culture, adventures, and the memories that they go back home with. So we have to make sure we do all it takes, have a proper staff that can cover all this, and we have a final beautiful product out there. Like I said earlier, people are our most important asset. We can have all these beautiful websites, spend thousands or hundreds of dollars on websites, do search engine optimizations, and target the best of the markets, have the beautiful or the latest of the extended land cruisers, go to the best lodges on this planet Earth, great marketing, very nice prices. But if your people are not professional, the client experience suffers. And the ultimate goal is a great customer experience. So if we miss on the people, which is our biggest asset, most times you think you have land cruisers, you think you have, I'll get any driver as long as they have the cars, but that is a proper lie, because you have to get a perfect staff to make sure the returns on that Land Cruiser, you realize the returns on investment. Without the proper staff, you won't. So we have to look at the character of the people we train. What kind of people are they? What is their character? Are they people of integrity? What is their level of communication? Do they have good communication skills? Or it's just a matter of just taking people to, what is their attitude? Let's look at, someone is on a safari with clients, and the clients are even more worried. Is he okay? Is he feeling fine? Is he sick? You're in the office and you're receiving an email. People are wondering whether the driver or the guide is okay. What is their level of responsibility? Is this just drive from Kampala to Sipi, just from Kampala to Windy, or are they responsible enough to think about this people and say, now I've reached midway, these people should have a stretch along the way, ask them if they would have to use a bathroom or something like that? What is the level of competence? We have so many people having drivers on the road. Sorry to get so much on the drivers and the guides, but someone doesn't have a driving permit and is stopped on the road, no driving permit, then they have to call, ask for the permit. Police people ask for money, wasting time, and yet people are supposed to have a smooth experience. Willingness to learn. We should be having people that are, because no one is a master of everything. So we have to be able to learn every single day. In the process of learning, we become better skilled people. And at the end of the day, they have to be client-centered, because everything we do is around the client who has given us this money, who's given us this opportunity to serve. And through that one client you have got, you could get the next 10 or 15 clients. I think I tapped on this earlier on, that authority versus responsibility. Everyone wants the authority, but few want responsibility. Everyone wants to become the CEO, but very few want to do what it takes to become a proper CEO. You don't have to think that now you have arrived because of the title CEO. Actually, you should be working much more. Make sure these clients get a great experience. And how do you work much more? You have to work best with your staff. You have to be part of them. You have to be empathetic. If a guide is going to Windy, you have to think through that now he's going to drive through Rushaga and the weather is not good. Keep following them up, because just the money is not the end in it all. They want to feel we are part of this. So take up the responsibility as your title goes. If you're in charge of marketing, make sure that you have the right knowledge about the destination you're marketing. So it all goes to the titles, the authority, and recognition. When you have the titles, then have the authority, do what is responsible around your responsibility. And then you'll be recognized. It's just about the title. Yes, I'm the sales manager of this company. I'm the digital something manager, but you have to do what corresponds with your titles. Yes, we talk about the staffing. Of course, most of us, one of the requirements of UTB, for example, when you're registering, is you should be having a human resource policy. And most of us have had that policy put in the shelves and dusted off. But how often do we follow this policy? There is a lot in the human resource policy that we should follow as a guideline. Of course, a human resource policy is a guideline of the set rules and, of course, guidelines of how to manage an organization, an entity, especially in human resource and staffing. So we should be taking keen look at human resource policy. What does it say about the girls? What does it say about the working hours? What does it say about maybe compensation in case of anything? But these are documents that we just have in our offices, but we never take back. And most times we let our staff brain down. You have a very nice staff who is able to work, but they will leave just the following day because they can't imagine the environment they're working in. Their policies, for example, like the workplace respect. If when someone comes, he has come to work, but because maybe he's not well abled, maybe he has a problem with his leg, and everyone thinks, no, he can't drive. But he's a very good driver. He has very good interpersonal skills. It's like, no, he's not a good driver. No, you see. Then you have maybe boys and girls, ladies and males in the work staff. A guy, like touches a girl in a bad way, and all you can say, him is he's busy, he's like that. But they are harassing this girl at work, and the next you'll understand, it happens a lot. Most of our female gigs, when they go out there, maybe in the evening, and the boys are trying to push a vibe, but these people are out here to work, even at the workplace. They're out here to work, not to be harassed. Even some of us, the male or female, an intern has come and you want to take advantage of her because you want, so that you can promise her a job, or maybe a girl is working and you want to use her so that she can retain that job. That is not proper. So as we said, don't let them quit before they start. They've come out here, they want to give out their whole, they want to give you a good experience. But because of what we are as employers, we end up chasing them away. So let's try to follow these workplace policies so that we get the right people. They say young professionals enter tourism with enthusiasm. Some of them really love what they're doing because they've gone to school, or maybe they love what they're doing. Then meet difficult clients, pressure, long hours, unexpected problems, poor supervision, and little recognition. They do so much. You get the biggest part of whatever it is. The staff do so much, but they're not even recognized even after a trip, They just to say thank you, this was nice, it makes them feel so good. A call, how was it? You've reached Wind, how is it? How was the journey? Just as a matter of them going, and then you see them when they're coming back. So let us guide the staff, train them to the level that we really want, or even better than what we want, by sending them out for more exposure. Let us supervise the kind of work they're doing and give feedback. Give feedback, because the moment you don't give feedback, then someone may never know whether they're progressing or they're not. And if it is positive feedback, please feel free to give it out in the open so that everyone can know someone is doing. But if it is not nice, please do it in silence. Because sometimes when you ridicule them and say you didn't do this right, sometimes they feel so down. They're like, really? Is this what I was meant to do? Can't he talk to me better in a better space? Call him out maybe over a cup of tea in the office or outside and say, no, you did this and this. This was nice. No, this did go well, so that they can also appreciate and learn from those experiences. Then give them responsibility. When you give your staff responsibility, it is very key for you to give a sense of direction. Because you find someone is the driver guide, is the accountant, is the marketing, he's everything. And at the end of the day, when he doesn't perform one well, you will come out to blame the person. But remember, he's not given up clear responsibilities. Tell them now you're supposed to be the cleaner here. If it is not, those are clear responsibilities, you have the outputs. But when someone is scattered around, it is not easy to know what they are doing, and then you blame them. So sometimes you blame the young person when we should have mentored them better. So let us mentor these people. It's not enough for you to say, I've been in the industry for 10, 15 years, and you think you're a master of it all. No, these young boys and girls are starting in the first 3, 4, 5 months. One day they'll be 10, 20 years. But what do they have to talk about you? Will they say, did I learn something from Mr. X or from Madam Y? Or they said, this lady took me through hell. And when you take them through hell, exactly that is what you're teaching them to do to the next generations to come. And I think given the kind of industry we're in that is growing by the day, we need to mentor these people even much better than we are. So a junior employee today can become the manager who leads your company tomorrow. That is very possible. We have seen it happen. Some of us are directors and CEOs, and we were guides years back. But because of the mentorship of some of our staff, of some of our bosses and our staff, we are who we are today. Yeah, so this is client relationships. This is very important because it does more to do with trust, credibility, and experience. And of course, our kind of business, like we said, you can have everything, but as long as you're not a credible person, a credible company, if you're not trustworthy, the experience, of course, comes, but trust and credibility are very key in the kind of business we do, because we are dealing with people and they need to feel secure. So they have to make sure they trust you, trust what you're telling them. Will they deliver what they promised? For example, if they say, I'll take you on an 8-day safari, and then along the way it turns out to be a 6-day safari, you sleep in a luxury hotel, and then at the end of the day, you're sleeping in a budget hotel. So the moment that trust is broken, then you're not credible, my brother and sister. So we have to look at that. We should have that credibility so that at the end of the day, the client can have a great experience. You get your money, you get that beautiful referral you're all looking for. So like they say, never promise what you cannot confidently deliver. A booking gives you revenue, a satisfied client gives you reputation, referrals, and a future business. There's nothing that beats a repeat client or a referral client. You don't have so much to hustle about. Remember, if these inquiries come through the website, you have to convince this and that, but a referral or a repeat client will just say, I want to come back for a 15-day safari. What do I need? And the next you'll see is your money on the account, because you have given a past experience which was very good. So they have the trust in you, they give you credible, and they know they'll get a good experience. We talked about crisis response, especially among our staff, turning travel challenges into smooth trips. You have to understand by listening what is actually happening. Verify, establish the facts. I talked about girls being harassed in offices. Someone comes and tells you, so-and-so is disturbing me. Then because we talked about make sure there's anti-harassment policy and discriminatory and workplace respect, then you rush and say, Mr. John, you harassed Mary, so tomorrow you're dismissed. Please listen to what Mary is saying and verify. Listen to both sides of the story. Then try to get proper solutions to this, whatever problem it is. Communicate to the parties involved, whether it is the class, this I'm talking about within the company and outside the company, whether it is the client or the staff, because it all comes back to the people we're dealing with. Communicate properly and have proper communication channels. If there is a human resource manager, go to that. If there is whoever is responsible for that line, let them address that so that there is proper, clear line of communication, and that makes everything smooth. So you listen, verify, take ownership. Whoever has done something, let them take ownership, solve the problem, communicate and learn so that we don't have an occurrence of the same. So we talked about effective management. There is a simple tag with GOWI that says forehead tag. How do we manage staff? Managing staff is one of the greatest or the most difficult things to go through, but it's also one of the easiest. If you handle it very well, it makes your work very, very easy. So this forehead tag goes for fairness, objectivity, humility, empathy, clarity, trust, appreciation, and connection. Fairness, just be fair to these people whenever they're going to do this work. You're sending someone on a safari and you're telling him, and this applies to the staff and also because whatever happens to the staff affects the client. You're sending someone on a safari and say, drive from here to Queen, tomorrow do a game drive early in the morning, then connect to Windy. You know, it is so, you're not thinking about this person. Are you really fair to what? The moment you're not, the same will be passed to the client. Objectivity. Let us look at what this person is supposed to do. Not just, you're supposed to do this, you haven't done this, you know, you don't respect me. We lose it. We lose it along the ways and we're not able to achieve what we exactly wanted. Then empathy, we have to put on the shoes of these people. Are they able to do, would you be able to do it in your position? Would you be able to do this? We have several of them. We have clarity, trust, appreciation. Let us learn to thank these staff of ours so that they feel they're appreciated because of what they are doing. And at the end of the day, have that personal connection. Don't just be a boss in the office. Have that connection with your staff so that in case of anything, they're able to share with you freely. There shouldn't be that boss staff relationship that normally breaks the communication and leads so many problems along the way. And like I said earlier, you should be able to praise in public and correct in private. This builds confidence, motivates the team, reinforces good behavior, and creates a positive culture. As I say, when you correct privately, it protects dignity, encourages honest conversation with whoever it is, reduces defensiveness, because if you try to correct someone among so many people, then they will start saying, no, it's not me, it's someone. So you won't really get to the depth of the matter. But when you do it in private, then you create an opportunity to learn more of what was happening. Yeah. Yeah, problematic stuff. And not every difficult employee is a bad employee. First ask. Of course, most of us have got staff we always blame for everything, but there is always something behind whatever is happening. So good management is neither being too soft or too harsh. It's clarity, fairness, and accountability. Let us know what it is. Where does this problem stem from? Then we can be able to come up to a right conclusion about whatever it is. As CEOs or directors, we normally need to have at least a monthly leadership dashboard so that you know, yes, you're a leader in the company, but what have you been doing over the time? Are you achieving your set goals? Are you getting to your dream? Are you getting to your vision? If it is the people, do we have the right people who needs coaching, recognition, or replacement? You know, you have to have something like that is done at least on a monthly. What is our sales? What is our pay plan? What converts? Where are we losing business? As a leader, as at the top management, you should be able to have that because you don't just blame people without following what they've been doing. How is the operation? Which trips are at risk? What repeated errors are we seeing? So that means you have to follow up whatever is happening in the safari so that you're able to follow up and give clear guidance so that it feeds into your vision and big goal as the CEO. What have we earned? What do we owe? What's the outstanding? So you have to relate with the finance to know that we have a clear financial position. Otherwise, if we don't have a clear position, financial position as CEOs or directors, then we have lost the game. What are guests saying? What are the top 3 complaints or compliments? Most of us have got problems. We go out, look for these businesses, the clients come in, they go out, you never get to see them because for you, your intention was the finance. The moment the account is happy, you never get back to check on them. But it would only be good for us when the clients are coming in, create that one moment of a briefing from them to them. You welcome into the country, and as they go out, wish them the best on their safari. And when they're coming back, if possible, create time for you to hear what really happened so that you're able to know what the guests are actually saying and maybe improve you or your staff. And which process still depends heavily on one person. So we should be having systems. The best way to run a company is having clear systems. Without systems, of course, which are run by people, if you don't have clear systems, then you're not able to deliver anything. Yeah, so there's a very interesting one here where they say staff retention. We have gone through all the kind of stuff we want, the quality, the character, and everything. But how do you retain this staff? Because research has shown that staff retention is way cheaper than recruitment. Because the more you retain this staff, you have trained them, they have the product knowledge, they have all the qualities you want. They have the destination knowledge, client relationships, supplier relationships, institution memory, training, investment, productivity. So they know they are driving towards your goal, towards your vision as a CEO or director or whoever team leader you are. But when you don't retain this stuff, and every time you go to a place, the receptionist is not there, the driver has left, the guide has gone. Now there's a problem. And it may not, if so many of them are going, most often than not, it is not you. There's no system to retain these people. So the best way is to look for a way of retaining this staff. Because people normally leave because of, it's not really pay. Most people, research has shown most people have left workplace because of toxic environment, poor management, lack of respect, no recognition of growth, and unfair treatment. So the moment you don't have this put right, most often than not, you'll see the staff leaving. And when the staff leave, it affects your business negatively. So let's try our best to make sure we retain our staff. Like we said, we have to build systems, office management. It really depends on building these systems, not individuals. So things like job descriptions, they have to be very clear, booking procedures, client records, supply information, staff schedules, vehicle allocation, itinerary systems, handover systems. We have to follow systems, not whoever comes does whatever finds is available to be done. Along the way, we shall lose it. There's a little one down here which says, don't run a tour company entirely from memory or WhatsApp. The company should continue functioning even when one person is absent. Because, for example, if there's no proper system in vehicle allocation and the transport officer is gone, then the company will be off the system, So we have to be having systems that are dependable, that we can build and trust, and know that even if 2 or 3 people are not around, we should be able to proceed with work as usual. So, like they say, what is the CEO's role? Who is on top management? The CEO should not be the person who solves a problem. You see, the CEO should not be the person who solves the problem. There should be the CEO is the leader who has that big idea. But without a proper staff then the idea dies. So, as a CEO, you should build the right team, create the proper culture, because no person will bring a culture to your company apart from you, because it's you who knows the dream. Find the standards. If you have poor standards, even the staff, however good they are, will have poor standards. They'll get responsibility, establish proper systems, just like we've just talked about. Develop managers, train them to what you want. Don't expect them to bring what they know from somewhere to what you want. Monitor their performance, protect the brand. If this brand is the Tour Operators Academy, to protect that brand so that when you come out, they say, wow, this is Tour Operators Academy. Then develop future leaders. Mentor these people to the best kind of person you would want them to see. So that when you meet them 20, 30 years down the road, they'll be like, wow, this old man here, this old lady has made me who I am. There is nothing that is more satisfying like an appreciation after so many years. I had an experience, like I had a personal experience way back about 2003. I had a restaurant and I employed 3 young girls, four from, I think one was at university and the others were in senior six. We worked together as a family, but over 20 years, about a year or two ago, these four girls invited me with their families, took me out, introduced me to their husbands, showed me their families, told me how far they've gone, and they were appreciating that little moment I had with them over 20 years ago. There was no satisfaction like that I've ever had in life. It feels so good for you to put someone to another level, way better than even the money we make. So let's develop future leaders. And this is the role of CEOs, team leaders, whichever title you may want to. But if we follow this, we shall definitely get. And the CEO should not be the operating system. Yeah, it feeds back to the other. We should build people who can think, build systems that guide, build a culture that can deliver. The takeaway in this is effective staffing gives the company capability, effective office management gives the capability, direction, consistency, and control. And when you have that, then you have a proper company that may not be affected by anything that comes along. And we have a conclusion here which says the tourism leadership equation. You will see somehow it all comes back to people. So it is right people, clear rules, good systems, effective communication, accountability, empathy, strong leadership. It is all about people. It clearly shows us that the kind of business we are in is entirely about human beings. Without them, we are out of business. All that above leads to excellent client experience. Yeah, and as we talked earlier, I think in the introduction, people talked about the kind of, you realize I've not talked about titles and the roles. All of us have different titles in our companies and different roles. It is up to us to go through this and we see what is our need. Because it would be very good for us to develop a title because of our need, not because company X has a particular title, then you try to impose it in yours so that you get out. That normally brings out to people now wanting the titles, not the responsibility. Most of this information is not just from my own. We've done a little research, some Ministry of Tourism, that's the references that we have, the Uganda Tourism Board, for us to get like some of this, the statistics and yeah. And lastly, we say, let's make logistics disappear and make memories shine. The client may never see the work behind the safari, but they will feel the result. Let us build Ugandan tour companies where people are valued, responsibilities are clear, managers lead with empathy, staff are accountable, and every client lives as an ambassador for our destination. I thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Any questions? Questions? Mm. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, yes, Julius. Thank you so much, Julius. Thank you so much, the Tour Operators Academy. And thank you so much, Cliff. This was so beautiful. It was so elaborate and relatable. Thank you so much. It was a very wonderful session. I've noted a couple of points, and I believe everyone else has learned from this beautiful presentation. So we are getting into the question session. For us to be organized, let me request that you please raise a hand if you need to ask a question, for us not to be very random. Just put your hand up and then we can choose one by one to give us the questions. Or if you are in not in good position to speak, you can simply type your question. We'll be able to read the questions here from the chat, and our facilitator for the day will be able to answer to these questions. We have very many appreciations in the chat. Uh, Magezi Misusera says, I really appreciate the knowledge and time given to us during this meeting, and I believe I'm going to apply this knowledge. Thank you so much. Agasaro Safaris, well done, Mr. Cliff. For us young directors and operators, this is so insightful and very informative. And I want to urge all the members here in the Two Operators Academy, let's not just listen to these trainings and let them pass without them impacting to us. There is a dedicated time, I think, in the near future that we shall have to evaluate uh, uh, all of the members here to understand how have you learned, what have you learned, and what have you applied, what have you put in practice from the time you joined the Tour Operators Academy. What has been added to you? Uh, there's a question here. Magezi Misusera is asking. My question is straight to our teacher. That what do you think is the right time to have an office for your company basing on your experience? Basing on your experience, sir, Mr. Cliff, what do you think is the right time for a company to have an office? Free Flow Adventure says, as Free Flow Adventure Tours and Travel Uganda Limited, we extend our sincere appreciations towards Mr. Cliff for today's motivation. It keeps us motivated on who to work with and associate with. Lola Tours says, thank you for the session. Kudos to Team Tour Operators for putting this together. So I think let us first get to that question, Mr. Cliff. You can answer. I hope you've noted it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So the question is, what's the best time to start a company? To start an office, right?
Yes, to start to open up an office for the company.
So whatever answer I'm going to give is my personal thinking, is not an authority. I'm not an authority on this because all of us vary. So I think personally, I would think it really depends on what level you are at. One of the requirements of the Uganda Tourism Board is to have an office, a physical location. So it will all depend on what an office is to you. Some of us have decided to go out and look for those very exotic spaces, which maybe go for thousands of dollars. Some of us have decided to look for small spaces that are manageable, where manageable is also relative. And some of us have also even decided to work within the comfort of our home. So an office is a space. It may not have to be defined as where. So the moment you feel you're comfortable to have one is the best moment for you to have an office space. But you should have an office space that you feel you can afford, that you can pay for, or maybe you already have, but not work on pressure to have the big office that maybe you may not be able to manage. Most often than not, we want to be like Office X and we do some things that are outside our means. So I would prefer someone to do an office in a space that they can afford to run. Because importantly, is an office adds confidence to your client. Because most times we handle these clients online. But I can tell you, I have a personal experience where I dealt with one of the corporate companies here about 8 years ago. And we did everything very well until the last moment where they said, we shall be having a team to come and visit your office. So it makes more sense when you have a space where you can let these people come, share with you and discuss issues. But it doesn't really have to be so big or so small. It should be what you can afford. So whether you can afford it at the start, well and good. If you can afford it midway, that's what I would think.
Thank you so much, Cliff. I hope, Magezi, this is answered very clearly. You don't have to look for fancy buildings first, which is very, very important. Get a space that you can manage as long as it can be an address where you're found, from my point of understanding. Uh, Thank you so much. Another question. Um, From Owen, Mutiaba Owen is asking, what factors will you consider to choose a location for a tour company? I think he means for the office of your company. What factors will you consider to choose a location? And another question, you can put that down, Mr. Cliff. Another question is from uh, Namulinda Georgette. Did I get that right? Thank you for this session. My question is, what do you think about the differences between the older guys in the industry and the young guys in the industry? What do you think about the differences between the older guys in the industry and the younger guys in the industry? These two usually clash over how to do things and how to handle things. Could you please talk about it? In summary, Gen Z is meeting millennials and that whole Gen Z is meeting millennials and that whole clash. Did you get that, Cliff?
Yes, I have.
Yes, please go on.
Uh, yeah, thanks for the question. This is very interesting. And so the first question is, what factors would you consider to choose office location? I think one of the most important would be accessibility. One is affordability. Can you afford it? You as a tour operator, can you afford that office? Two is accessibility, both to you and to the client. Is how far is it from your maybe where you stay, or that is all accessibility. Then accessibility to the client as well. Is it easily accessible to, if someone says, can you come to this place? For example, when I was starting up, there's a time I had an office somewhere in Muyenga. It was a very nice place, but it wasn't as accessible as I would have wanted. So it always direct people, pass here, turn. You know how Uganda is, Google Maps times don't work. So pass here, turn on this mango tree, the other fene tree, and sometimes it's confusing. So as long as the place is accessible and affordable to you with the basic service amenities like maybe power, internet, proper phone connection, because you need clear internet connection because you work on internet most of the time. I think those could be some of the factors. They are not all, but some of the major ones. Yeah, to me, that's what I would think. What we consider to choose office location. Then there's a question, an interesting one about the Gen Zs and the millennials. That is something that is very interesting and always comes up. Again, like I said, my personal opinion, I think there's no reason for a clash because we're in a we are in a sea where we need each other. So there shouldn't even be big or small. There shouldn't be 15, 20 years and 3 years because I've had the opportunity. There's a time I was at an expo in Cape Town and I met someone they would call a young tour operator. And we had a very good, I normally never want to use the word young because in business there is really no young and old because we are all out there pushing for the same agenda to sell Destination Uganda. So I meet this guy and he's relatively new. I'm very sure even if I mention the name here, very few of you know him or you've been knowing the big names. But when I heard through his business strategy, he's doing very well. So I think what we call the old and what we call the young need to work together for us to push this common agenda, because all we want is a Uganda that is known to the world. It hurts me so much when you go out, maybe you're in Berlin and you say, I come from Uganda, and they say, is it next to Tanzania? That really hurts. But if the so-called young and the old work together, we can easily push this agenda. Destination Uganda is known. Because, for example, I told you my background. We were in the time when there was no internet. We were writing mails using the post office. But right now, we are in the era of the internet. There's digital marketing. You see how the mainstream media is dying out. People are having YouTube TVs. So as an old person, you may not easily relate to that. So if you don't work with the young, then you may not learn that part of it. But also, the old have mastered the art of being very open and sometimes thought being very trustworthy, and they work slowly to make sure they achieve something in future. To the contrary, some of the young want to work very fast. So if this team meets the other and they come to an understand and reach a compromise, I'm very sure we shall get a very good product. So the best is for the two groups should work together, because there is something, the old have something to learn from the young and the young have something to learn from the old. And when the two are together, we get a very good product. And with what Uganda is, we are very hospitable people. So imagine if we have a team that works together, the young and the old, the sky won't be the limit. Yeah, so we just have to work together. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Namulinda, for that question. I think the answer to that question really is so touching. We need to work together. Also, the millennials need to understand that they don't have it all. So they can as well get from the young, and the young can get from them. And with that collaboration, we can really build the industry to standards. Thank you so much. I will give you now a little bit more questions at once. Try to list them, then you can get to them at once. Before I get to other questions, there are other appreciations. Thank you for the opportunity. And Victoria says, thank you, sir, for the knowledge and the time. Thanks a lot. Magezi answered to the answer you gave to the question. And then Roka Safaris says about building client relationships. Some clients focus only on getting the cheapest deal and may compare your prices with competitors without considering service quality. How do I handle this? Because I have one now, but I've failed to close him because he has told me he's still inquiring from other tour operators. How does he uh, handle clients that focus on getting the cheapest deals and may compare with other tour operators? Then Innocent Kasaija says, uh, Ultrazo Tours seriously looking for experienced tour consultant. This is an opportunity here. Innocent Kasaija is looking for, Ultrazo Tours is seriously looking for an experienced tour consultant. Then Trip to Gorillas is saying, asking a question, as young tour operators, which are the most essential staff positions we should prioritize when starting a tour company? Because we cannot start with all staff departments, let's say accounting, human resource, and extra, etc. Which essential staff positions should we prioritize when starting tour companies? Uh, I hope you've noted that as well. Then Barry J. Ambrose says, my question is, I have been operating but not registered fully. Is it really dangerous? Oh, I don't know how long Barry J has been in the Tour Operators Academy. I don't know if he's a member, because I guess if he's been a member, this question should have been answered since. But you can also get to that. Uh, he has been operating but not registered. How dangerous is this, or is it really dangerous? Uh-huh. And the Tour Operators Academy is hurt by hearing that Uganda is not known in some countries. So we should really work hard to get Uganda, this nation Uganda, put to the world map. The question from Lola Tours, while specialization and division of labor is the ideal, the cost implication is what we can't afford as startups. How can we perform to our best with having a very small and affordable team, juggle through several related roles amongst ourselves, but still look professional to clients? Would you advise usage of apps or tools to manage different tasks like finance, accounting records, human resource databases, and etc., as opposed to having staff for each docket? I don't know if that question is clear, Mr. Cliff. Lola Tours says, what can't, okay, says, the cost implication is what we can't afford as startups. How can we perform to our best with having a small and affordable team? And also, would you advise the use of apps or tools to manage different tasks like finance, accounting records, and the like, as opposed to having staff? Kitui Peace says, as CEO, maybe we first, can we first handle that, or should I spell out all the questions at once? Cliff.
It's okay, you can. I'm registering them,
Okay.
noting them down.
Kitui Peace is asking, as a CEO, what conditions are favorable for an effective delegation? What conditions are favorable for an effective delegation? And Beast Horizon Safaris is saying, thanks a lot. Rita Nyangoma says, as a young tour operator who is not yet compliant but having social media pages that are doing quite well, do I need to work with another compliant tour company so as I sort myself out? As a young tour operator who is not yet compliant, having social media pages that are really doing well, is does she need to work with another compliant tour company? So in the process, as she sorts herself out. Beast Horizon is asking, oh no, Beast Horizon, I think, was trying to uh, get to Rita, saying, Rita, me personally, I do work with different companies to gain more experience and exposure to the tourism industry. So let's take it on from there, Clay.
Wow, thank you so much. So we shall go through a few of these, and I think it started on. Yeah, there's someone who asked about. Someone asked about someone who was trying to handle a client who wants cheap. I
Yes.
think that's where we started. Yeah.
Yes, that's where we started.
Yes. So I think this really takes us back to the kind of packages we are selling. Because like I said, tourism is big and it's a huge sea. It has tilapias, it has the dolphins, it has the whales, it has the mamba, it has the mukene. So it has everything. So it is up to us to think through and say, I'm out here. One is you should identify your niche because you won't be able to sell everything. I know when we are starting, we want to sell everything, and sometimes it's not possible. So I would want us to, maybe we first know what am I selling? Am I selling luxury? Am I selling mid-range? Am I selling budget? If I'm selling budget, what type of budget? Because also budget has, there's the mid-level budget, top, and backpackers. So we have to know what exactly you're selling to this client. And also some clients are very interesting. They may want to squeeze you as much as possible, but when it comes to delivery, they want the best because now they have given you the money. And remember, cheap is never a badge of honor. No one would ever want to say, I bought this chart at 5,000 shillings. Everyone would want to say, this is the best of the best. So position yourself and say, if my package is $2,000, for example, I can't sell it at 1,000. Actually, most times when you stand your ground and you tell a client, for the service I'm going to offer you, this is the costing, this is the best I've given you. Less than that, there's no deal. Most often they will go shop around because they're asking so many people. And some may even say to give them very cheap. But even this client goes back and scans through, but is like, how is this person able to pull it off below 2,000? So he'll end up coming back to you. So don't just go for the least money because it is money. At the end of the day, you'll have to do this activity. And when it doesn't come out to the client's expectation, they'll give you the bad review. They'll think you have cheated them. You rather ask for what you feel fits into your budget and do it to your best. That's what I would think. Then is that well answered?
Yes, yes, it's very clear.
And then I'll go to another one from Innocent. I don't know whether this is the Innocent I know, but it sounds like an Innocent passenger I was with in school in the 90s. But just in case you're the one, you're welcome to the club, bro. Innocent is asking, Innocent
Actually, Innocent is looking for.
for someone to work, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
So you're in the right forum. If there are right people here, you can also contact me. We can look around. Trip
Thanks to Cliff, I will do that.
Okay, that's the Innocent, yeah. So trips to Gorilla, most essential tour manager, essential staff positions. Also, like I said initially, there are so many staff positions in a company, which you have the marketing manager, accounting, the finance, and the titles change or vary depending on the need. You have communications manager. There are those so many titles and roles, but which can meet depending on the level you're at. I don't think when you're starting, I don't know, my model of work might be different, but I would love to think and appreciate that since we are dealing with young tour operators, sometimes what has made us fail is the thinking that we have to start so big, is the thinking that I have to start with 15 members of staff, and sometimes you can't manage them, and along the way it kills your dream. So to me, I would think you start, like I said, you start within the means. Of course, it is very possible if the roles are clear, because remember when you're starting, you can have an accountant who is doing another thing, for example, because there's not so much of the accounting work they are doing every day because you don't have the business anyway. So you'll find someone, as long as the roles are clear, and you say so and so is a driver, is our company driver, but when he comes to the office in the morning, he can clean. As long as it is clear from the word go, you don't just add on things on him when he doesn't know. And if we say so and so is the human resource, if we say so and so is the human resource manager, but he also handles administrative work for the office. So as the company grows and there is need, then you'll be able to have the other, maybe the IT manager, the marketing manager, the sales, reservations, the different can come up depending on the need. So we don't just create titles because the titles exist, but let us create these titles because there is a need. But if you're really doing tours, you need a tour manager, for example, someone who manages these tours, follows up on what is supposed to be done, all those things. We need someone in charge of the office. But in this particular case, if you're starting and if it is your only job, you as the CEO or team leader can be the manager at the office. So we can juggle these roles to make sure they suit into what we just need, not to just do what the others are doing. But you have, for example, in the human resource manual, there is always the roles and the responsibilities. So whenever you feel at this time, now we have maybe 8 staff and we have 9 computers or 7 computers and all the staff are not tech savvy. So at this point, we need someone who will take charge of our IT department. So maybe you have head of IT. Maybe at the start, when you're starting, you could be having a website which was developed by someone who is not on site. And maybe along the way, you feel this is the time now, we should have an in-house person to take care of the website, the digital space marketing, something like that. Yeah. So the roles, I may not say it is a clear-cut A, B, C, D, but they evolve and come up according to the need of the company. Then someone says, have been operating but not registered or fully. Barrage, I think. Yeah, I understand Barrage. So many people have done that, but on my side, I would feel it's not very, very good for you to operate when you're not, because you're operating as an entity. Even if the company is called Barrage and Barrage Tours and Travel, but it ceases to be Barrage when it becomes a company. It's a complete legal entity. You're dealing with other people. Remember, when you're not registered, then you're not recognized by the associations. For example, Association of Tour Operators, STOA, you're not recognized by Uganda Tourism Board. And so many of these guests that we are looking out for, because I believe most of you or most of us are trying to look out for those international guests. Most often than not, they check out in the databases of those associations we are linked to. They check with Auto, they check with the store, they check with UTB. So when they find you're not fully registered, the trust, the level of trust and confidence reduces in you, and sometimes business might drop. So I would implore you to take in a little more time and have it fully registered. For example, if you had an accident or anything bad happens, if you have gotten clients, because it's possible to get them when you're not registered, then along the way you get a problem. Then it becomes very tricky for who defends you, because you're a younger tour operator, you're not registered, you're not under any umbrella association. So who defends you along the way? So we need some support from the different entities to work in that tourism ecosystem. So registration is very important at that level.
Actually, Cliff, sorry to cut you short. We have really run out of time. I think you can answer the remaining question. I think it's 1 or 2 very briefly, and then the rest of the questions, you can always forward them to the group and they will be handled. So please, let's wind up with those answers briefly. Thank you.
Thank you so much for noting the time. Yeah, there's just a few one. Specialization and labor, of course, it comes at a cost. Yeah, as you said, working with system is very good, but you need to start with the skeleton staff, at least that can be able to run the system, because the systems are run by human beings. But when you have that little skeleton staff that can run the system, well and good. Then what conditions for an effective delegation? As long as, because we know as leaders you can't do everything, and for you to get good results, it would be good to have a proper team, delegate and monitor the results. Then someone asked, do I need to work with another tour company? Depending on your goal, you can be able to come and learn how it works. Then you're able to really get out into your own and operationalize. Yeah, but it may not easily be possible for you to book guests under someone to a company. You might come in, like they call it apprenticeship, learn how this works, they train you to a certain level, then you roll out to the field. I think that's most of what has been asked.
Yeah,
And I
thank you.
thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cliff. Thank you so much, really, for the detailed answers. Thank you once again for the presentation. And we thank all members that have joined in and attended these trainings. Without a waste of more time, please allow me hand over to Julius. Julius, you can take us on. Thank you.
I want to appreciate Cliff for giving us all the questions. And please move Gallo for Cliff. Move Gallo for Cliff so that
Thank you, guys.
we appreciate. Thank you so much. It was really wonderful, Mr. Cliff. And indeed, we have learned a lot. I just have a few minutes to go. I know Innocent's hand is up. Innocent, you have a question?
It was just a mistake. Sorry for that.
Okay, all right. And so we are glad. I want to inform you that this training has been recorded, and so we shall be putting it on our YouTube page. So please, if you have missed out on anything, the training is recorded. You can actually always go back and learn. All even including the questions and all this will be on our YouTube page. I want to bring to a close, but I have a visitor here who wanted to say something, and then we'll say bye-bye. Alan, is Tina on? Alan?
Yes, we are on. Good morning.
Good morning, please. So Tina, please, in maybe 5 minutes, because our time is fast spent. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Julius. Really appreciate you inviting me to join you on your podcast, I think. And many thanks again to Cliff. Cliff, I'm really happy to hear you speak, and that gives me comfort. And it gives me also hope that the future is bright for young tour operators or upcoming operators. My name is Tina once again, and I live both here, Uganda, and particularly in Entebbe, but I also live in the UK. So I'm also partner in business. Uganda Experience Safaris. And so just quickly to point out, and maybe next time if I have a chance to join you, even if I'm in the UK, I'll be glad. So Alan will maybe contact. So my main issues to really list up is things like trust in the upcoming tour operators, trust, openness, accountability, respect for one another, whether you're young or old, welcoming. We have an issue when it comes to welcoming, especially at the airport. When people arrive, that point of welcoming and just a little smile doesn't cost much. After all, these people are coming to bring business to Uganda. And whether people are coming back home or people coming in terms of tourism, we need to look at the issue of welcoming, mostly the people that sit behind the counters in working at the airport. So the other thing is sharing ideas, like you guys are doing. I encourage that so much, sharing ideas, willingness to to learn from one another. It's a good thing, because people think, oh, I know more than you. No one knows everything. No one is perfect. So sharing ideas and learning from one another. The other one is representing the tourism industry really well, wherever you are, wherever you are. And on that point, I'll bring in cleanliness together. Representing our country, representing Uganda, so whoever comes, and not just for tourists coming in, but also ourselves, we need it. So I think, that's another issue to look at. Expanding in different ways, because now I've heard, and I love it, I've got a few friends doing it already, doing also focusing more on local tourism, because most people have done, the so-called big fives and the rest of it. And, so we need to try and dig deep into local tourism, encouraging and showing people different types of tourism we can offer as well to expand. Also looking at encouraging talent, looking at youngsters coming up. You see, little boys, say, I don't know, 6, 5, 10 years, and they've got a talent. Let's try and look at, as you get together, look at talents. How can we support young talents? Because within talents, we get, again, tourism is part of it. So how can we come together as operators, young or old, and support that, talent, whether it's in football, whether it's in netball, rugby, wherever? How can we encourage that? In planting or farming, how can we encourage that young talent? Because it's the future, the next generation. And in conclusion, staying united really and supporting one another, because if we are united, then we are stronger. And if we are divided, then we are falling apart. So I really want to encourage all these points I've mentioned. Okay, so thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, asante sana, Madam Tina.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Madam Tina has a project that falls with the Tour Operators Academy. One of our arms is the foundation supporting the vulnerables. And members, this is something that we are going to do in December. I just wanted to make these 2 announcements. The first one, in December, we are going to bring together clothes, shoes, everything that you can bring. We want to go and support a community. We were trying to look for a community that we can give back to as tour operators. And so we want you to stand with us in December. They have already said the tour operators, we are only taking their visitors. This time we want to look out for that community that we can support and just give them back. So please, as you prepare, we want to stand together in this. Then the last announcement is again about, now this is the good news. Our masterclass on itinerary development and costing is on. Finally, the masterclass on itinerary building and costing is on. Ridgeway Victoria Gardens has offered us space, but we are only going to take 20 slots. 20 slots. Now, if you're having issues with costing, now 20 slots, the cost is going to go at 100,000 shillings, and that 100,000 shillings will come with your breakfast, will come with your lunch buffet, will come with your transport from Kampala to Kauku, will come with nyama choma after the training. So we are going to have some nyama choma after the training, and then we'll have networking. Members, this is going to happen on the 12th of September. 12th, we are going to be making that communication in the group. So, but we only have 20 slots, and it's going to go on first come, first serve. A registration list will be passed on, and we encourage members to register and pay. We shall be at Ridgeway Victoria, also hosted by Experience Uganda, under one of our board members, Alan, who's also talking to us here with Tina. So members, we want to encourage you to get prepared if you're having issues with course. It's going to be so much of one-on-one physical. We shall study, eat, and enjoy. But above all, we are going to have networking. Now, some of you are asking the question of the young tour operators mixing up with the old tour operators. This is your opportunity. This is your opportunity to have it on. We shall start exactly at 9. Go on, and like I said, it's breakfast, lunch, nyama choma, transport, and all this. It's just going to be amazing. and yet you are going to learn how to cost your itinerary. So the mark the dates. It's on the 12th of September. 12th of September from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to spend more time. I want to appreciate you, Mr. Cliff, for your words. Please, let's give Mr. Cliff Obugalo as we are closing. Thank you so much for giving us
You
this
guys,
time.
thank you.
Thank you for this. And I hope that we shall have you at the master class as well, so that these members can have a strong feel of who you are and the networking. Please, let's be there, members. Then I also hope that as tour operators, we shall show you how we are going to support the community. We are going there. It's called the Tour Operators Academy Foundation. Just supporting the community, giving back to the community. We shall give them shoes. We shall give them clothes. We shall give them soap. We shall give them everything. We just want to give out things as tour operators. With that, I want to encourage you, if you are not registered on the database, I'm going to put it up again for those members to be registered so that we can get this information, especially for the registration of the masterclass. We only have 20 slots. We don't have to have very many of them because we are going to be intentional at transformation. Only 20 slots on first come, first serve. With those few words, I want to appreciate every one of you for joining this training today. The training will be on our YouTube by Monday, and then the notes will also be on our website. Now, our website is www.thetouracademy.com. .africa, sorry. www.thetouracademy.africa is our website. These notes that Mr. Cliff has been teaching us will be online on our website, and it will be in our with the other previous notes as well if you missed out on any trainings. We request you to follow up, subscribe, and let's have the best. I'm going to repeat this statement again. Thank you, Mr. Cliff, for leaving it on. Let us build Ugandan tour companies where people are valued, responsibilities are clear, managers lead with empathy, staff are accountable, and every client lives as an ambassador for our destinations. Ladies and gentlemen, have a beautiful weekend. Thank you. Catch up on another training.
Thank